Hello everyone, how's it going today? My name is Brandon and this is The Agenda. I'm so bad with names, so I'm gonna let everyone do a little chagisoge to themselves.
Are we doing like formal introductions again, Brandon? Just for you, because you forgot our names.
I know.
There's Sean, there's Hannah, there's Peter.
Oh,
Finish.
easy. So what's on the agenda today?
I think we have a lot of different things on our plate today, but I think one important thing that we need to discuss is Trump's second term. Right? There's a lot going on already, and it hasn't been that long, but especially his really strong anti-immigration policies, right? That's definitely something we have to discuss today.
Sure. But anti-immigration, I think that kind of captures not the imagination in a good way.
Yeah, I know a lot of people back home are, as you guys say in Korean, like 힘들어요, like difficult, right?
Yeah. So I guess then maybe we should just get right into it. All right, let's watch it.
Okay.
That's definitely some good news.
As ICE vehicles drove through the city center, car horns blared, and anxious cries spread through the streets. Some residents took shelter underground or closed their windows, while concerns grew that even hospitals, schools, and churches were no longer safe havens. Following these intensified crackdowns, the Korean community in Los Angeles is also reporting labor shortages, business disruptions, and mounting anxiety.
Arrests or immigrants are detained simply for the way they look or the color of their skin. And so that has really increased anxiety, I think, amongst immigrant communities because of the unpredictability. So even, for example, green card holders, they're not sure what can happen if they are in fact detained. In particular, those that are not proficient in English, I think there is a greater fear.
In January 2025, the second Trump administration launched a sweeping overhaul of U.S. policy under the banner of Restoring Law and Order. Framed as a policy to protect American jobs and strengthen public safety, it classified immigrants deemed potential threats, such as those linked to drugs or violence, as primary targets of enforcement.
트럼프 행정부의 이민 정책은 미국 우선주의의 핵심이라고 할 수 있고요. 2기 때는 트럼프 대통령을 둘러싼 정치적 환경이 매우 우호적으로 바뀌었죠. 1기에 비해서. 그렇기 때문에 트럼프 2기 행정부에서는 미국 역사 최대의 불법 임대 추방 정책을 펼치겠다고 공약을 내걸었는데 그런 부분을 신속하게 실시를 하고 있는 거죠.
In March, more than 250 Venezuelan nationals were deported to El Salvador after being labeled gang members. U.S. students who participated in pro-Palestine rallies were also branded as anti-American terrorists. However, indiscriminate crackdowns, including legal residents, have sparked major controversy. The impact is also being felt in the labor sector. In a large-scale raid at a Georgia factory, hundreds of Korean workers were detained. While the administration's hardline enforcement is evaluated to have shown some short-term results in border control and crime reduction, the aggressive nature of these actions is fueling legal disputes and deepening social division.
그런 강경한 이민규제 정책, 우선 내가 어떤 경제적으로 여유가 있어야 되고 내가 경제적으로 안정을 취해야 된다는 그러한 불안감이 기저에 깔려 있기 때문에 트럼프 대통령이 강경하게 이민규제 정책을 통해서 추방하고 그리고 국경을 튼튼하게 지킨다. 이러한 주장이 지금 잘 먹히고 있는 상황입니다.
Citizens are finding creative ways to resist. Some honk their car horns when ICE vehicles appear, while others in Portland and Midwestern cities mock the raids by playing the Darth Vader theme or dressing in animal costumes, frogs, capybaras, and more. Even amid fear, humor persists. Today, under the banner of law and order, the United States faces a complex reality where internal tension and resistance coexist.
Wow, things are very intense over there. And then I can clearly see that it's quite different from his first presidency, like you mentioned, right? What I can see is that with this Republican backing up right now, and then he is moving a lot faster than before, and then with a lot more confidence.
It's intense. That's all I can say. Like, my My parents are immigrants, like they immigrated there. And one thing is I know Trump, everything's controlled by red, the Senate and the House, everything is red. Probably in the next like midterm elections or the coming elections, maybe things could change. People's mindsets are changing. Jobs are being lost. A lot of not great things are happening. I'm just worried about what's to come because, I mean, it could get worse. It could get better. Obviously, I hope that it gets better as an American, but
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, as a Brit, I don't have any money in the game, but, it's shocking to see the ICE agents, taking people out of workplaces and then deporting them. But I also heard this crazy statistic that Donald Trump has not actually deported more people than like other past presidents. Like figures-wise, it just looks shocking.
Correct.
Right? But I think that really is important because people feel like insecure. Right?
Yeah, and I think part of it is also the way in which has been going about this, which really makes it stand out, and that's why we're seeing it a lot in the news right now too. But it does indicate that it's not just about the law anymore, right? Enforcement is really fast, and as you mentioned, like people are just at a restaurant eating, and then all of a sudden they're like about to be deported, and so this is this is very concerning for America right now.
Actually, recent statistics show that net immigration has turned into negative, so suggesting that maybe Trump's policy is working. But I am concerned that it might have a bad consequences on the economy because, if you think about the essential industries like agriculture, transportation, and food services, all heavily dependent on immigrants.
Yes.
If this continues, then maybe it'll have a definitely negative consequences on the U.S. economy.
Yeah. I know a lot of farmers, they are feeling the effects of it. It's like a weird like paradox. Like, yeah, these jobs exist, but I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I want to go work something else. And then some people have to work these jobs and immigrants decide to work those jobs. Well, if you deport all of them, who's going to pick the strawberries? Who's going to do this? Who's going to do the jobs that people don't want to do? Like, I know in Korea, you guys have like, farmers from like Southeast Asia, they come here legally and stuff, and then a lot of your farming is
Supported
by those people.
Yes,
It's the same thing with every other country. Jobs that the native population doesn't want to do, these people do. But if they're not here, everyone suffers. No money's getting circulated. So many bad things can happen.
Yeah, on the other hand, and you might be thinking that maybe there are some people who believe that at least security is getting stronger in this country, right? And this leads me to the question that we had in the first AI session, the debates regarding efficiency over human rights. So if you have to choose one, what would you choose? Efficiency versus human rights?
The same again, right?
Same again.
Yeah, well, we're not machines, right? We're not AI, so surely human rights should come above most other things, including efficiency, right?
Why can't you have both?
Yeah, that would be nice.
Efficient, but human rightsy? I don't know.
But the problem is, like, with the images that we're seeing and the messaging as well, let's be honest, it's creating fear, right? And that politics of fear, maybe in the short term, it can be effective. It might turn people off, maybe even trying to go to America, those illegal immigrants, quote unquote. But if that goes for a long period of time, surely society just gets scared, you lose trust in the government, and that's not a good look at all, right?
One thing that we have to recognize is that it's not the majority of U.S. citizens support this kind of strong anti-immigration policy. Whatever happening might lead to greater political polarization and then more social cost.
I think the administration uses the facade of like strongman leadership. We're protecting our citizens, but at the same time, like, are they really protecting the citizens? So, I don't know. It's just we're seeing a lot of authoritarian tendencies that are kind of masked in this more of like security-based narrative, and that's really concerning.
Yeah.
It's all about the restoration of law and order, and then make America great again, right? But I would think that it may work in the short term, but in the long term, is it really gonna, make America better? What do you think?
Prices of eggs are going up. Everything is going up. You say like, oh, the prices of X is going to go down, but when it doubles in price, you're like, why is that? Oh, we don't have anyone to pick it. Oh, that's being spoiled.
Surely businesses are going to suffer at the end of the day, not just people with the high prices, right? Businesses, if they don't have workers that are going to work for them. So is this really for the economy, or is it like political gain? Like he wants to appeal to the voters that are like, yeah, immigrants out, America first, etc., etc.
America was built on immigrants. It's a country built on immigration for freedom and all these different things, and now you're changing the value just because, I don't know, you're having a bad day. It's just, it's contradicting on what our country was built on.
I think if he also truly cared about economy, then what I would do if I were president and care about economy is, trying to make American citizens more competitive and then better again, right? Like through more job training and then education, provide more encourage entrepreneurship and then, but what he's doing instead, making the others worse off.
Correct.
Right? So this kind of politic is appealing to, I think, certain groups of Americans. These kind of message is just working for these people.
Yeah, I mean, in the social sciences, we kind of talk about this a lot. It's called group threat theory. And like, Trump is definitely using this where you create this like in-group, out-group, us versus them type of narrative, right? So if it was really focused on the economy, then yeah, we would allow these laborers to stay. When I was in Nebraska, there were a lot of farmers, there were a lot of conservatives, but there were also a lot of extreme MAGA supporters as well. And so when I see the interviews with them, now they're so surprised. Where are all my laborers going? And then they don't realize like, oh, this is hurting them. And they realize it a little too late, right? So we're definitely, I would say it's more political as well.
Yes.
But yeah, a lot of policies and labor shortages. Those farmers, Nebraskan farmers, they're definitely probably feeling the hurt. Because I know recently they're trying to get like a bailout for them. We have no money, and they're bailing them out, but then they say don't bail out stuff, so it's very contradicting.
But the US isn't like the only place where there's like anti-immigration sentiment, right? Even in the UK, there's been loads of protests recently. It was on the news, and people were asking me. It's not so much in London, like the smaller cities, where there are maybe a lot of asylum seekers who are put into city centres, and that's a tiny proportion of immigration as well. So that's got to be one point that we keep in mind. Like illegal immigration is such a small factor. In the US, it's a bit different because you have land borders. We're like surrounded by the sea, so it's a bit different. But there is a certain type of person who is really nationalistic, and has that sense of this is what Great Britain should look like. And, that's not wrong. That's part of Great Britain as well. But no immigrants in the country in 2025. I don't think that's going to be possible or beneficial to anyone.
I don't know how that works for y'all. I'm not trying to get like political, but I'm just like, when you say Great Britain, y'all been to everywhere. Y'all been places.
That's why we have to welcome everyone.
Yeah,
But that anti-immigration sentiment, you can't just blame those people. There must be a reason for all these people in all these developed countries now turning against immigration. Like you said, maybe the group threat theory,
group threat,
but that maybe stems from people not getting what they think they deserve. Right?
We're all human, man. Human race. We're all the same.
And I'm sure, there is a problem when it goes past a certain level. Like too much immigration too quickly, there must be limits. Like I think the UK has had nearly 1 million net migrants every year for the past 2-3 years. That's maybe too much than the system could cope with.
And you guys are a small country.
Yeah, exactly. But it's about human rights or efficiency, like the law or the people. Both have their merits, right? But to sum it up is really difficult. So I think you should wrap up.
Stop building walls. Build smarter doors.
Oh,
that was a little southern accent.
For immigration.
In June, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman appeared on a podcast where he made a strikingly candid remark.
They started making these giant offers to a lot of people on our team, like $100 million signing bonuses, more than that comp per year. It's crazy. Actually, it is crazy.
He was pointing to reports that Meta offered OpenAI employees over $100 million to switch companies. It was a remark that vividly revealed just how fierce the competition for AI talent has become among US tech giants. In fact, Meta recently invested $14.3 billion to recruit 28-year-old prodigy developer Alexander Wang and appointed Shenjia Zhao, one of ChatGPT's core developers, as its chief scientist, aggressively sweeping up top talent. Not to be outdone, Google brought in Varun Mohan, founder of an AI coding startup, while Microsoft has reportedly recruited about 20 Google employees involved in generative AI development. The intense tug-of-war for top talent is now spreading beyond Silicon Valley to the rest of the world. Recently, the country recruiting most aggressively is none other than China. China's largest internet company, Tencent, reportedly spent $14 million to bring home Yao Sunyu, one of OpenAI's leading researchers. Earlier this year, Wu Yonghui, who had led Google's AI division, made headlines after joining ByteDance, the parent company of TikTok. The number of Chinese professionals returning home from the United States has continued to rise each year, reaching 75% last year.
몇 년 전까지만 하더라도 중국의 인재들이 미국에서 자리 잡고 계속 살겠다라고 하는 그런 인재들도 많이 있었어요. 반면에 최근에는 지정학적인 이제 정치적인 이런 요인도 있고, 그래서 어떻게 보면 미국에서 그렇게 내가 환영받지 못하는구나라는 생각을 했을 수도 있고요. 중국의 뭐 그 어느 나라보다 큰 시장과 기회들이 펼쳐지고 있고.
In this climate, the Trump administration's decision to sharply raise H-1B visa fees for hiring foreign professionals has once again shaken the global talent market. Previously, the H-1B visa fee stood at $1,000. But recently, the US increased that fee 100-fold to $100,000.
The country would rather not have to pay $100,000, but they'd rather, how do you do that? You hire Americans. So there's an incentive to hire American.
Interestingly, several other countries are taking the opposite approach. China, for instance, introduced a new K visa program in October to attract foreign scientists. With this visa, even those with only a bachelor's degree and without any job or research offer can enter China to study and work.
끊임없이 대학 교수님들은 뭐 이제 이메일 같은 걸 받고요. 우리나라 유수 기업에 재직하시다가 중국으로 이제 가시는 분들도 꽤 있는 걸로 그렇게 알고 있습니다.
The United Kingdom is also considering abolishing fees altogether for its own skilled worker visas, similar to America's H-1B program. Meanwhile, Germany is extending offers to Indian professionals who are now hesitant to move to the United States.
이런 정말 소수의 인재를 제외하고 진짜 든든한 받침이 되는 그런 인재들은 틀림없이 영향을 좀 받지 않을까 그렇게 생각을 하는데요. 전에는 무조건 내가 잘하면 미국에 가야지라고 막연히 생각을 했다면 지금은 뭐 다른 옵션이 있겠네.
As the American dream, once attainable through effort and ability alone, is now being blocked by rising visa barriers, China is rapidly emerging as the new center of the global competition for talent.
Wow. A $14 million recruitment offer. That is insane. So it seems like it's not just like for the tech industry, it's just trying to get the best brains in the world, right, with that kind of money. But it also gets me thinking, you know, working in universities, I've heard that there's a lot of competition for talent there. Like, we'll double your research funding or something like that. So, Anna and Jordan, have you been offered $14 million?
I wish.
Not even close to half of 14 million.
Something like that, where someone's come in with something lucrative to try and tempt you away.
In a good way or a bad way?
in a hopefully a good way.
Okay.
I hope.
I went to the US job market and the Korean job market at the same time, and I had actually very different experiences.
Oh.
Not 14 million.
Not 14 million. Nobody, not 14 million. But one thing is that, you know, in the US, when you get a job offer, you kind of start negotiation with your term and condition and everything. So you can create your own contract. But in Korea and other Asian market, it's take it or leave it system. When I got an offer from the one that I'm currently working, and I was excited to start negotiations. So I was like asking for a raise and other things. And then they were like, that's not loser. What's that? Like it doesn't work that way. So yeah, it's very different system. So, but yeah.
No, I know with the U.S. it's like you said, it's negotiations. Like I have a skill that you need, and I need money. So let's negotiate that. And I know in a lot of like, let's say the tech sector and like Silicon Valley, yeah, you have your base pay, but then you have like your comp package, your full package. So that could be you get stocks after you're vested. You might get
moving costs.
You might get extra pay time off or things like that. You're allowed to negotiate, but you got to be in the power. Like you need to have a skill that they need. And if you don't think you're being valued, then I can go to somebody else. I can go here. I can go here. So don't always take the first thing because there's always money on the table.
I mean, this kind of shows that like this is not just based on our base salary, right? Like research funds are also important. We can't directly access a lot of these research funds, but we could use them to do our research. And so in many ways, like it's showing that it's not just the salary that we're getting, but the additional incentives that also come with it. And I think that's kind of how Meta is like also recruiting a lot of top, top tier people right now because a lot of other companies have GPU shortages, but Meta has a ton. It has stockpiled, and so because of that, it's like, hey, we'll give you whatever you want, or almost everything you want to do, what you want to do. Come to us. And so a lot of people end up going there.
Like work-wise ambitions can be fulfilled there.
Yeah.
And we've seen China. That's what most surprised me in the video there. China is like, as well as producing their own in-house top scientists, they're luring back people who had worked in the States, right?
Yes.
How is that even possible?
Well, in America, we have the H-1B1 visa. Why do we have that visa? Because America's not really promoting STEM as much. Science, technology, engineering, math. A lot of our talent is coming from abroad, India, China, other Asian countries. The problem is you have this worker from China or India, they come to America, they work the 1 year, they work the 2 year, and they say, hey, I want to stay. I want to stay another year, another 2 years. I want to be American. But they say, no, we're not renewing your contract. So now you just worked at the top 5 companies and like you just worked at the top 5 tech companies. When you go back home, what are you going to do? You're going to make your own company. You make your own Silicon Valley in China. You make your own Silicon Valley in Korea or India. So a lot of these top talents are studying and learning in America, but we're not giving them the visa to stay. So they go back home and make their own company, and now they're competition when they could have been an asset, which is it's a weird paradox.
Yeah, they've like increased the price of the H-1B visa like significantly.
$100,000.
Which it's weird because I can understand them saying, okay, you're from so and so, I'm bringing you here. You're taking an American job. This is an American job, but Americans can't do it. But now you're making it impossible because no one can fill the role, and now you have a gap, and you're not getting the top talent. So now maybe Korea or China or India is going to take that person and give them the visa and give them money.
The American tech companies are surely not happy about this because they can't attract the talent they want. It does seem rather odd that some of the talent then has to leave. And like you said, they'll go and set up the companies in their own countries. What is the mood like in the US? I mean, do you know anyone personally who's been affected by these struggles, I wonder?
Well, I mean, this is brain drain, right? We are going to see a lot of really skilled people leaving the United States because of the $100,000 fee. Like, it just sounds ridiculous. But even now, there are a lot of people in America that are concerned about this, like immigrants in particular, who are working in America, who are concerned about, okay, how am I going to find a company that will help me pay for this and keep me here, regardless of my skill set? And so in the Korean community, we're seeing a lot of discussions about this as well, because we have a lot of Koreans that are in America. And so this is becoming a bigger issue. I'm worried that this brain drain is not just in the US, though. Like, we can also see it in Korea. Like, over the past 10 years, I think around 300,000 STEM workers ended up leaving. So from Korea's perspective, we're educating them, we're making them skilled and then sending them abroad. And so I do think this is becoming a big problem here as well.
I think there's multiple reasons. First one is definitely money that we've been talking about it. So if you're working in a big tech company, I think comparing with this Korean's compensation, it's like 3 times or 4 times bigger.
There's a difference,
But considering all these living costs, it's much higher in the US, but still the compensation is way higher. And then second is, it's my personal opinion, but I think its ability to live up to the middle class lifestyle, it's more possible in the US. In Korea, even with the higher education, with the big income, housing price, you cannot really buy Korean housing, maybe in Seoul, but near the Seoul with the normal salary, right? So,
like, flip side of that, if you want to think positive, is that these Korean talents are going abroad and then they're learning to use advanced technology, and then maybe they're going to build up networks and come back to Korea. There are cases of that as well. So if you put it on the flip side, maybe you could interpret it like that.
Maybe with the H-1B visa issue, they may end up coming and staying.
They can't afford it, right? Yeah, even with 3 times the salary.
But the salary isn't, because I work in the tech space, so I know the salaries. Let's just say a McDonald's worker in America.
Really?
Is probably making the same as as like a mid-senior level developer.
Like, seriously?
Yeah, I'm not joking about that. Like, I'm being dead serious.
Does that mean McDonald's workers make a lot of money in America?
It's just, I mean, then you factor in cost of living. But if it was 1-to-1, you're like, I can flip a burger in America as the same. But then if I'm working in tech in America, the salary is that much higher. So where would you work? Like,
here's my question. So if you are some sort of a decision maker at the government who take the responsibility of doing this nationwide recruitment project. So you have to bring the brilliant mind from the world to Korea. What would be the first thing that you would do?
Money.
Money, okay.
Housing.
Housing.
Yeah, providing some type of housing so that right when people get here, they don't have to worry about housing. Because we were just talking about expensive houses, right? So money and housing, I think, are going to be important.
But really good ideas, like I think money and housing, if you satisfy those two, you could draw a lot of people back here,
definitely.
right? So I think Korea really has the potential, right? But we've seen that you can't ignore that money factor, like we need that. I don't know. I'm feeling pretty confident. Like if we were in charge of policy, we might do a good job. So I'll take this one-line rap today. Is that okay? So money can't buy happiness, so they say, but it sure can buy a lot of options. Right?
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Some more really interesting topics today, right? Anti-immigration, the talent war. I think each country around the world can relate to both these topics, right?
And I feel like just me personally, I'm learning so much from all of these different perspectives. I would have never known about the McDonald's pay being similar. Yeah, so I really like it.
Yeah, so we'll all be back next week for some new topics, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm excited.
See you next week.
See you next week. Bye.